Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So this is probably going to be a shorter episode because we're probably going to only go... Or let me see. We're halfway through 22. The game ends at the end of 35. Well, we might be able to get through 12 and a half. So that's all of 23, 24, and 25. It would be 13 and a half years. No, we're almost assuredly only going to go 7. So this will probably be a shorter episode. We'll see what happens. We have a petition to pass Protected Speech, which we're working on. I was doing a bunch of conquests in Africa and stuff like that, but I recall I did... there was a situation where I was trying to recreate... oh, what's the name of the country? The big mega state up here. I do still want to do that, so... Let's move towards taking Ecuador and Peru. And do I reduce Venezuela's autonomy now? It's a good question. Can I see the country on here? Because that'll make this a lot easier. Doesn't look like it. Alright. Let's see. We'll sort by subject type. I have 5 puppets. Santo Domingo is going up in Liberty Desire from bad relations. Interesting. I missed that that was happening, perhaps? Seems that way. Alright, well, let's see if we can't deal with that. We'll reduce subject payments. We'll exempt them from service. Do we give them knowledge sharing? I can grant them a state. Oh, okay, no. Not meaningfully. Alright, that should probably be enough. For now, we will increase relations. It's going to be a while. I might let them increase their autonomy. Speaking of which, let's reduce the autonomy of Venezuela. We'll reduce subject payments there. Bureaucratic imbroglio, a stall event. Lawmakers working towards the enactment of protected speech have found themselves mired in a particularly complex set of bureaucratic proceedings, grinding the work towards reform to a near halt. The fully developed bureaucratic apparatus compares with other organizations exactly as does the machine with the non-mechanical modes of production. That is to say, the teeth of its individual gears meet in a chord, or its gears will gnash and churn until it eventually breaks. Damn this labyrinthine legal system. Reduce enactment success chance. Reduce enactment speed. Or cut through at least some of the red tape. Reduce bureaucracy. 10% of bureaucrats in New York become radicalized. But we lose only enactment speed, not enactment success chance. I'm going to pick that second one. It's something I almost always do. Someone in the comments, tell me the name of the big state that comprises this whole area from before. From history. From way back in the times. The times that used to be. Can I do... colonial claim? Not until 25. Alright, and I'm doing all the colonization I can. Yes, I can't colonize Kenya at all. Alright, that is what it is. Alright. Let me see. Unstable government? Hello? What happened? Oh, we're in an election cycle. Okay. Are we? No, it's 1922. It's only a midterm. What happened? The industrialists just bailed out early. Oh no, we were here. This was our situation before. Okay. Do I drop taxes again? I don't think so. Let me see. That's right. We're doing a rather ambitious rubber development program, which we are trying to do. Let me see. Ecuador. I don't have the ability to puppet them. So, I will send the Pacific Fleet to hang out in their waters. And that should get us that ability. Let's quickly check and make sure that the involvement is indeed the issue. Yes, it is indeed. Peru, same thing. Probably yes. How much is this going to set me back? 17.2 infamy. It's not great. It's not great, my nerds, but it'll have to do. Electricity shortages in Oregon, Rift Valley, East Congo, and Wadai. We'll start with Oregon. We just need one more level and a subsidy. We're already subsidizing. There's already a level in construction. Beautiful. Rift Valley, East Congo, and Wadai. Rift Valley, I already know that's over here. Let's subsidize. Subsidize. And what's the local price? That's fine. We have more than enough capacity for that. Wadai. Here. Yes, I caught it. We need 2 more levels and a subsidy. Actually, they're already building up, and they're continuing to increase employment, so that's fine. American East Congo, which is here? No, this is Equateur. Oh, American East Congo. That's here. Sorry. My Central African geography could definitely be better. A subsidy should get us there. So that should be fine. Now, we have... Oh. Something's going on in France. What's going on over here? The 2 Sicilies, we're doing a big communism, are fighting Tuscany for Italian leadership. Interesting. Very curious. But also, France is in a war with Switzerland. Well, that is what it is. Oh, interesting. Somehow they've gone over to legitimism. King Oliver de la Lucerne. I don't know who that is. Probably not a historical figure. We'll see. Rome sides with the 2 Sicilies. Tuscany sides with the German Empire against the 2 Sicilies. How did the German Empire become... Oh, because Tuscany is a German subject. Russia sides with the 2 Sicilies. Okay, interesting. Things are going a little bit buck wild. Ottoman Empire sides with the German Empire. Oh, boy, we're doing a general European war over here. Oh, who do I side with? Could only get really war goals here. Over here, I can only get war goals. Let's leave it be. Let's leave it be, my nerds. We're just chilling. We're gonna do a major relax. You did ban slavery, which I did ask you to do. I'm feeling very pleased about that. I think I'm going to turn Colombia into... I'm trying not to say Gran Colombia, but I think it might be Gran Colombia. Earl Gardner has died. That's not someone I need to care about. That's fine. That's completely fine. Yoruba mass immigration. Interesting. Alright, so how's our involvement in the Andes region? Is that down here? The Andes. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting 85 a week. So it's going to be like 5 more weeks. Hey, law progressed to voting on protected speech. Wonderful. Delightful. I'm so pleased. Wonder if Russia's going to win their war. Probably not. Tunisian uprising against Great Britain. I don't need to get involved in that. Who embargoed? 2 Sicilies is embargoing Spain. Well, that's fine. That's fine. On the other hand, maybe I want to annex Colombia and give their states to Venezuela, because Venezuela has been more supportive of my general agenda in the past. Okay, interesting. Russia was going up against the Ryukyus, but the Ryukyus backed down. Yeah, because they're in a political structure that is more friendly to my my overall everythings. Yeah. Alright, so it should only be a couple more weeks now. Alright, we've hit 1307. If we get up to, let me see, we're going to go to 5,000. If we get up above 2,000, possibly 2,500, we'll get a reduction in infamy doing this, and I think that's probably worth it. So I think I'm going to, People are interested now. Oh boy, Peru's on fire. That's fine. We got Tontinsuyu down here. Then we got Bolivia over here. Interesting. So they have, okay, so they have defensive pacts with both Argentina and Peru. So supposing we went there now. Peru would step in and Argentina, but only them. Which is interesting. This would be 15.2 infamy at present. I'm going to continue to increase my presence in the area, and hopefully that's going to let us get up to have just a little bit less infamy when we're trying to do this as we get moving forward. Santo Domingo, our puppet, is still increasing in liberty desire, but I neglected to improve relations with them, so I can't really do anything about that. The temptation to keep taking... I have so much temptation to take territory, but I do have to watch my infamy. Chilean mass immigration. Oh, that's exciting. They went to the great state of Somaliland, which is cool. Oh my. There's a battle happening over here. Let me see. Ungosh Modernist Revolt. Ah, that's this country here. Which is a subject of Britain? Yes. Alright, ooh, Amazonian National Awakening. Very cool. Come on, protected speech. Give me that speech. Give me all the speech. Wonderful. There's our petition completed, and that has put our government up over 50%, which I'm delighted by. It's also goofed me on authority a little bit. I'm really not happy about that. But I can't really do much about it. Yeah, I'm getting as much as I can out of these various things. I suppose the only answer is to cut a consumption tax. I'll cut the one on porcelain, because I think that's a more widely consumed good than automobiles are in America at this time. The middle strata is secure, which means they are starting to consume automobiles, I think. The cutoff might be 30 for that. I'm not sure. Lower strata are 14.9. It would be awesome to get the lower strata up to 15. That would be a delight. Is there anything else I want to do with my laws while we're kicking around here? Taxation's good. Citizenship's good. A lot of people would prefer to be in racial segregation, except for the intelligentsia, but I do have a lot of groups who would prefer not to be, so we'll see. We'll see how things go. Could bail off of secret police, but I'm happy with secret police where they are. Who's France going after? Fouta Jalon for a conquer. Well, I guess that was inevitable. But I'm focused over here right now. I am eventually going to fight Britain for these territories so that I can form Central America, or at least make a strong Costa Rica. Ooh, rubber discovered in Kenya twice. That's fun. Too bad I don't control any of that territory. Sad. Objectively sad. Again, it's still 25 before I can claim it colonially. Let me see where we are in the rankings. Oh yeah, we're way ahead of Great Britain now. Lovely. Ship construction queue is basically finished. Let's take a quick moment to figure out what else I want to be building. The Oceanic Fleet, right. They were assisting with that war. So the Indian Ocean Fleet can return to Somaliland. The Trade Interdiction Fleet can return to the United States, as can the Oceanic Fleet. Where do I want to station the Oceanic Fleet? Let's put them in Guyana for the moment. And what do I want to do? I've got a 14th fleet kicking around somewhere. I have absolutely no memory of where they're supposed to go. So we'll just kind of play it by ear. Probably into the Interdiction Fleet. Nope, not there. Let me see, Atlantic Fleet's got an uneven number. Probably into the Atlantic Fleet. Yeah, Atlantic Fleet's got a lot of old destroyers in it. And these are modern destroyers, so probably into the Atlantic Fleet. In fact, as we transfer this, I'm going to select and scrap these old torpedo boat destroyers. And we'll just go ahead and add 15 modern destroyers. Hold on. Yeah, we got a cruiser going. We'll just add 15 modern destroyers to the Atlantic Fleet, and that will be nice. That'll be exactly what we need. Now, the Pacific Fleet, I think, should also have some more units. Let's go with another 5 battle dreadnoughts. And then we'll go with 20 of our modern torpedo boat destroyers. Or 20 of our modern destroyers. Destroyers is what we're building. How's our involvement? Alright, we're up above where we wanted to be in the Andes. So, demands make Protectorate. It's only 13.8 infamy this time around. Perfect. Let's hit that confirm button. So that creates our front. Who do we want to send? The regular army may be overkill, but there's no kill like overkill. We'll send them via the troop transfer fleet. I think I also want to add a little bit more transit capacity to the self-same troop transfer fleet, so I think I'll queue that in even as we speak. We've got a lot of troop ships in here. Got a lot of old torpedo boats in here. Where are we vis-a-vis our capacity? Oh, we're right at capacity. Never mind, we'll leave that alone. I don't think I'm going to need much else. I think I'll do a general mobilization. But should I raise the conscripts? No, we'll raise a few conscripts. Just for the heck of it, we'll raise a conscript or two. Just to the Coastal Defense Forces, nothing extreme. We're just going to raise 120 battalions to defend our homeland. I'm just raising battalions to defend my homeland. Aggressors everywhere. They're trying to enforce no tolls on us. That's fine. I don't very much give a flying one about that. So, we're going to try to get Peru, and if Argentina steps in, I don't think we're going to need Argentina to form this state, so we'll let that be. And we'll go from there. They're fearful, which I am delighted they are. Perhaps that will make this easier. Transportation shortage in Louisiana and electricity shortage in Equatoria. Ooh, the super dreadnought. Ooh, swaggy. Sativa in the baggie. Equatoria, not Equateur. So where is Equatoria? Show me this. Here. Here. Oh, actually, we need another level there. In fact, and then transportation shortage in Louisiana. I don't know why I said it French style. I mean, I know why I said it French style, but it was silly for me to do. Let me see. We are going to be short of electricity here. Let's subsidize the power plants here. And we'll expand them by 3 levels. I think that should be enough to cover this difference here. A lot of coal demand, which is interesting. And where's the transport situation here? Here. The size of the railway is being doubled. I do have the ability to go to diesel trains. How much oil have I got in my market? I am exporting a lot of oil, and oil's fairly cheap. Let's see if diesel trains wouldn't be best. I still have a lot of... Let's go to electric sewing machines for the textile mills. That should be good. Oh, and I have the ability to do diesel engines, which would be good. This will cost us 43,000 more oil. Okay, I think I don't have anywhere close to that amount. No, that would be a terrible idea. What about... Ooh, mechanical slaughterhouses. Don't mind if I do. Intensive wool gathering, let's do it. Right. And then the diesel pump for mining. That's something I 100% need. Never mind every other industry. Mining is where all of my oil is going. Actually, that didn't use that much oil. Wow. Well, let's take a look at the railways then. Let's just take a little look. Have a little look-see. How much oil would this cost? Only 3K. Oh, easy peasy. Easy peasy. Let's go to modern ports. I don't know why we weren't at modern ports. I've got a place that's unnormalized. Hold on. Let me do this. What did I take? It's certainly not Guyana. Is it Borneo? No. Oromia, Tanganyika and Rufiji. Alright, perfect. Oh. I've gotten myself a tiny slice of Kenya. Well, how delightful is that? Let's get all the usual infrastructure rolling. Does that mean I can colonize? No, because Zanzibar still has a thing there. Zanzibar still has a thing. Alright, so this war is popping off. I think I'm going to kick off a war against Peru next, so their vaunted neutrality will be of no use to them. Their vaunted neutrality? They vaunted it so hard. They vaunted to be neutral, but I did not vaunt them to be neutral. Alright, now we're being silly. Now we're being big silly over here. Alright, and just to confirm, I do have the ability to go against them when the time comes, do I not? Yes! Perfect. And what that should do is get a nice sort of belt of control over here. I think I only need down to Lima. So it might be more efficient to do conquer war goals. Let's check. Unavailable demands targeting states, so we need... Okay. Lima, conquer is 20.6. And these are Cajamarca and Pastaza. Cajamarca, 20.6. Pastaza, 9.4. Oof. It's going to be a lot of infamy to steal all that. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Colombia might consent to be annexed. Colombia might consent to be annexed. War with Ecuador is broken out. Beautiful. On the other hand, Colombia is at universal suffrage. Venezuela is at commercialized agriculture. Colombia is at tenant farmers. Tenant farmers could be better. But Venezuela does have right of assembly. But they haven't banned slavery yet. Okay, I think we're going to annex Venezuela. Peru. Old buddy, old pal. How would you like to be a protectorate? I'm not really asking. But I'm not asking quite... I'm not asking quite yet, because I still have to take over part of the country. Do I need to get this tiny bit here? Is this the capital? Please tell me this is not the capital. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb! Alright. It turns out we're going to have to send the Marines. Where's the button? Here we go. We'll go ahead and send the Oceanic Fleet. They're nearby. Yes, perfect. Alright. Easy peasy. And in the meantime, our infamy will decay enough that going after Peru will make sense. Empty pockets. A series of perceived poor decisions by the Catholic rights movement has led to a notable decrease in its ability to raise money. Numerous wealthy sympathizers have quietly halted their support for the movement in its current form. We do not wish to appear partisan. Always the same refrain. The organizer paced back and forth within his tiny office, fist clenched until it felt as if his knuckles were about to burst through his skin. Occasionally he stole a glance at the unopened envelopes on his table, all of which he knew would repeat a variation on the same. Partisan. What did that mean? That they cared for something? That they had chosen to do something beyond count the money in their vaults? He had something important to do, something which would improve society itself. They had a chance to do the same. In that light, how could partisanship possibly be bad? Perhaps we'll find an alternative source of funds. 2% of pops in New York become more loyalist, weaker Catholic rights movement. Or everything dies in the end some faster than others, significantly weaker Catholic rights movement. The Catholic rights movement is a minoritarian traditionalist ideological movement. I'm just going to hit the first one. I love getting loyalists in the capital, and the population of New York is quite large. Look at that. Look at all that. Alright, so now we're halfway across Ecuador, and obviously we still need the capital, which is these islands. What islands are these? These are the Never mind. I did not need to get the Galapagos. I think these are the Galapagos. Let me check. What state are these? Tell me the state name. Am I silly? Ecuador? Oh, that's right, because Ecuador is... These islands are part of this state. I completely forgot. Alright. So... We're going to be a little... Nah, we won't go so heavy on infamy. Let's go ahead and improve relations here. In fact... Maybe we'll improve relations with Peru just a little bit before the war starts. You know, just to be doing a little bit better. We'll have strong subjects. That's the goal. That's the idea, anyway. I got a lot of cash flowing. Oh, it's because my naval queue is empty. It's not empty, but it's not completely used either. So, let's get building more boats. Indian Ocean Fleet could use more boats, I think. Let's go ahead and scrap all of these old torpedo boats. And let's build some modern destroyers. And then we'll increase the number of cruisers. That's right, we have aircraft carrier capacity now. And then we'll build some... Oh, we have super dreadnoughts. That's right. Let's build ourselves a super dreadnought, shall we? I definitely want more armor. Speed looks fine. I want extra stowage. Ooh. That's so much, but double vulnerability is pretty intense. Let's add some mods, shall we? Torpedo nets for reduced suffered critical chance? Absolutely. Suspended sick bay for reduced suffered crew attack damage? Absolutely. And then let's go with... We have rangefinders? We do have rangefinders. Let's do it. And let's add 2 of them to our Indian Ocean Fleet. And actually, I'm going to put those up at the top of the queue. Because they're going to take forever to build. Come on. Both of you get up there. Yeah, 152 weeks. 3 years. For 3 years to build. Hearts of Iron 4 maxing. Alright. Colonization of Rift Valley complete. Lovely. Excellent. Unfortunately, Great Britain has crossed us up over here. Portuguese Africa is going to get in there, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to take any more of that territory. Can I incorporate? I sure can. That puts me a little bit short of... on bureaucracy. Now I've turned all of my government buildings... Oh, ooh, I can moor an airship. Yes, we're all on telephone switchboards. Where are we short of taxation capacity? Lots of places, actually. yata, 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 ya, 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 ya. Alright, that should do. Plenty of extra government in the pot. Fireside chat. President Khalil Ali Abadayas has decided to use the new and exciting radio technology to connect more directly with the people. It's like he's there in the room with me. It's hard not to be convinced. It should express authority. Extra authority. It should make us look good. Happier industrialists. I'm going to say it should express authority. There we go. Not enough to get my my consumption tax back, but still good. All right. Now, Peru is in a war with Tawantinsuyu. Well, look at this. I mean, I have to step in to protect Tawantinsuyu. That's just good sense. What an opportunity. What a sensible and reasonable activity to take part in as a nation. Where's my regular army? Oh, they're still here. Excellent. I'll just put them right on the front. Now, do I send the Marines to handle the other front? I think yes. Where are they at? We'll mobilize everyone. But where geographically is my Marine Corps? They're in Wisconsin. Smart. Smart and reasonable location. Let's take the troop transfer fleet. It's interesting the Atlantic Fleet's got a lot more transport capacity. I guess troop ships are old tech. And there's paved roads. Wonderful. That actually gives us a huge infrastructure bonus. The German Empire has begun embargoing us, and Brazil has begun damaging relations. How could they? The fickle crowd. The populist base of the trade unions has turned against supporting foreign entanglements. Pressure from within has led the group to distance themselves from the anti-British League. American needs first. The people say no to foreign entanglements and no to foreign treaties. Prosperity at home or chaos abroad. No foreign power could successfully attack a fortified United States of America. It was a mistake to rely on them. They leave the anti-British League, or they must steer clear of these populist ideals. They become weaker. I'm going to pick the first one. I don't need to have my trade unions in an anti-British League, frankly. I don't really want one of those, and that's going to disband my anti-British League, I think. Yes, indeed. All right, beautiful. Clean, normal, and reasonable. All right, let's see how much we're going to need to transport. How much supply we're going to need to transport these armies, to supply these armies abroad. I think... okay, so 1.1k for the regular army. That's not bad, but again, it'll be more when the time comes to restore their the supply they've spent pressing forward on these fronts. So that's something I need to continue to be mindful of. All right, Marine Corps has been dropped off. They're on the front. Peru backs down. Well. That's a shame. So Tawantinsuyu got quite a bit of Peru. They got Arequipa over here. And did Bolivia get a slice of Peru as well? Elementary. All of this is better for me. Annex war goal for 56. Infamy, which ain't bad. But Protector, it's only 22 now. So decisions. Because an annex war goal would get me territory down here, which I do want. If I go for an annex war goal, it will be more in the short term, but less in the long term. It will also let me have a visibility to the release country interface there, which would be good for me. See, now the temptation is fully buck wild. Let's give it a little relax. And let me just quickly check. So the Andes, we're at this point. We're going to go up to 644. when we hit pervasive, it's not until we hit hegemonic that we get reduced infamy cost for war goals. So I'll tell you what. Let's send the Atlantic Fleet down there. And what that will do is that will generate a whole mess of involvement. And that'll get us another little discount. And by the time that's there, this infamy will be sorted out. And we'll see what else we need. So, how's the market looking? We need art. We need more art. We need more electrics, and we need more cars. Easy peasy. Couldn't be an easier... Couldn't be a better problem to have. Oh, we can actually fix this one already through mass production. We can have automobiles out the wazoo. Electrics industries, don't mind if I do. Let's add 20 levels each in Arizona and Iowa. There we go, that should be fine. What else? What else? We're still a little bit short on rubber compared to where we want to be. Let's see how much more we can add in here. Rift Valley's got some capacity. Kenya's got a little bit. East Congo's got some capacity. Abangashari's got 1. 4 over here. And that's basically all we've got. Oh no, there's some capacity here in Ecuador, which is beautiful. That's great. That's wonderful. So, now that we've got 2 fleets projecting power in here, what does this look like? The Andes. We're going to go up to... Okay, no, we've hit our... Well, that's not something unexpected. Hold on. Yeah, 6,444. Alright, we can only get 5,000 from fleets. Alright, so that's something to know for later. What is going on in the world? We have a proletarian revolt in Liberia. Very well. It seems the Suez Canal force, I completely forgot to move back to where they were supposed to be. So, there they go. They can handle that. Let's take the Atlantic Fleet back to America. We can definitely use more construction capacity. Let's go ahead and grab the troop transfer fleet. And we'll just go ahead and throw in 60 general purpose light cruisers. I see that aircraft carrier button. Actually, before we... Oop, that's not what I want. Let's take a look at what we can do for aircraft carriers. Does increasing armor reduce the speed? It doesn't. Alright, so for 12 steel, we can get 550 ship hit points, 144 ship armor. Double that for 20 steel. Completely worth it. No question in my mind. Gunnery? Oh, this is more airplanes. Oh, I see. Significantly higher vulnerability, though, which is curious. And then stowage, same as ever. Can't do... Well, this isn't actually double the vulnerability. It's double the vulnerability from planes, but it's not actually double the vulnerability. With that having been said, it's only a small increase in damage. I don't think it's worth it. So we'll go with expanded sickbay and torpedo nets. And we'll create our aircraft carrier template. And let's get some of these being designed. I think you know where I'm going to put the first set of them. In the Atlantic Fleet. Let's add 10 aircraft carriers. 10 aircraft carriers is a reasonable number of aircraft carriers in a fleet. Who says you can't? Who says you can't have 10 aircraft carriers? Let's expand the Pacific Fleet. In fact, they need 10 aircraft carriers. No? the 10 of the new aircraft carriers. Hold on. Did I just add 10 of the old aircraft carriers to this fleet? Let's find out together. I did not. All right. I didn't be stupid myself. We're going to add some 10 super dreadnoughts to the Pacific Fleet, and then we're going to absolutely wreck this place with light cruisers. All right, that should be enough for now. That's enough to keep our shipyards occupied. I've developed a real shipyard industrial complex, my nerds. I love boat. Alright, so there's no longer any need to wait before engaging with Peru. Let's go ahead and make them a protectorate. Brazil could step in, but they're not gonna, because they're cowards. Just kidding. The government of Peru are cowards. There we go. All right, I'm like, why didn't the thing happen? And the answer is because... Why are you low on... Why do you have no supplies? Hello? Bring supplies to them, please. Supply the army, please. You're right on the coast. Why can't... Yeah, I know, but I... Why aren't they getting supplied? I've never heard that little sound effect before. Okay. This is weird. Let's... send the army of observation with a fleet, I guess? I can't get there. The place is not accessible? There's a port. I don't know what to make of that. I'm hoping it sorts itself out. Brazil is damaging relations, a thing that should not shock anyone at this stage. So... transportation shortage in Colorado, electricity shortage in Utah. Our private sector is building up the Utah electric industry, which should get us enough. And we'll do one more. And then transport shortage in Colorado. Is the private sector building that up? Gotta look at that. Looks like... Boy, howdy, are they ever. Alright, cool. Persia, what did you do? Whew, okay. I was afraid they might have become a subject of the Netherlands for a second. I would have been furious. Furious! If they had become a subject of the Netherlands. It would have been impossible for me to be angrier. What are you so mad about, Venezuela? Mostly fervor, and they're getting support independence. Declare on me, Venezuela. I dare you. Can't improve relations because I don't have the influence. Interesting. Do I not have rivals? Oh my goodness, I'm short on bureaucracy. How did this happen? I don't know what to make of that. What happened to all my bureaucracy? Weird. Hold on, there's a lot of things happening right now. Socialist revolts in Peru. Oh, come now. Well, this is going to be a headache. Well, we'll see what comes of that. I need to build more government sectors. There's nothing else for it. bananas that they all just that my bureaucracy is just kind of falling apart. So we'll just build up the lowest capacity areas, I guess. That should be enough to get me the 1,000 that I need. Do I throw these at the top of the queue? I think yes. Becomes the answer to that question. Power plants in Utah, let's do it. Now, here's the Liberian Proletarian Revolt. Now, is this army being supplied yet? Still no. The popularity contest. Alright, so we're once again in an election cycle. Let's take a look at things are. The Republican Party has significant momentum. The industrialists have joined them. The socialists are in second, and the Democrats a distant third. All parties have negative momentum. The socialists are doing really well with a much lower negative momentum than others, which means I think they can get up to the top. So who do we have? Republicans are industrialists and bourgeoisie. Socialists are trade unions and intelligentsia. I think the socialists can take it this time. So, the popularity contest. The eyes of the electorate have turned to the candidates that seek to acquire a position at the head of the government. As the election approaches, voters debate who would provide the best leadership for the United States of America. I quite like Pershing, mused one of the men at the bar. I couldn't say what it is I agree with him on, but I think he has a good head on his shoulders. His neighbor spoke up. Enough to look past the company he keeps? Why not? God knows you could say the same of any of us. Nobody's better to handle a fool than his friend. John Pershing is the man of the hour, extra momentum for the Democrats, and he becomes more popular. A term of Hannibal Marsh is what the country needs, extra momentum for the socialists, and he becomes more popular. Or Joachim Suchet has the character for the job, extra momentum for the Republicans, and he becomes more popular. I'm going to pick Hannibal Marsh. I got goofed by the Republicans during the last election cycle, and I don't want to make that mistake again. So as you can see, with much closer to equal momentum, the socialists have way, way higher. Cool. Alright, I handled it. Suez Canal Force, please return to Suez. Take the troop transfer fleet. They're extremely overqualified for the task. And there's our war with Peru popping off. They've begun embargoing us, that's not shocking. We've got a little bit more influence to play with, so I'll start improving relations with Venezuela. Colombia's liberty desire is very low. The Red Scare. I was checking if the Annex War Goal is available. The Red Scare. Members of the Republican Party have been vigorously warning voters about the Socialist Party of America's electoral campaign. First, they'll take your boss's house, and you'll thank them for it. You'll receive them as the promised savior and kneel before them. Then they'll take your neighbor's house, and you'll try to convince them. You'll say, but he's a good man, I know him. But it won't matter in the slightest. Then they'll take your car, and you'll think to yourself, it's fine, I don't need a car. And can you guess what'll happen next? You know what'll happen next. Alright, these leftists are traitors to the nation. Minus 30% momentum for them, for the socialists. This rhetoric is needlessly alarmist. Minus 2 government interest group approval. Minus 20% momentum for the socialists. Infiltrate the Socialist Party of America's leadership. Costs us a bunch of authority. Minus 50% momentum for the socialists. Or the Socialist Party of America has every right to spread its ideas. Pissed off petite bourgeoisie and industrialists. 10% increased momentum for the socialists. I'm going to pick that third one. This is available because we have protected speech. Or this fourth one, to increase their momentum by a little. So I think that's going to get them pretty close to the 0% momentum line. And what does that do to the election results? Projected votes, 53%. Nice. Very, very good. As you can see, we're moving forward in Peru. Now, this revolt, I don't know what... I think when we get Peru as a protectorate, that revolt will turn into a war of mine. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Wow, their liberty desire is going up really, really fast. But if they declare on me, then they declare on me. Who's supporting them? Nobody. Mexico. Mexico's supporting them. Mexico, try me. Try me. I dare you. Are we rivals? We're not. How rude would it be if I improve relations? With that being said, I've got a lot of infamy, so let's find ourselves a rival or two. Let me see. Eligible rivals. I could rival Mexico. Let's do it. I could rival the Ottoman. Let's do it. There's Venezuela, and that's fine. Country I could orchestrate a coup in, the Netherlands. Interesting. I don't want to increase my infamy, however, so I will not. Because my infamy is very high. Alright, so here we go. So, Venezuela is requesting a greater degree of autonomy. If accepted, they become a protectorate, increase liberty desire by 30, and a bidirectional truce. Deteriorates relations by 20. If declined, increases liberty desire by 10, deteriorates relations by 30. I'm going to decline. That's going to get them up to a pretty high level of liberty desire here. 85, going up by 10 per week. Sorry, by 0.1 per week. And overall, that's going to be good for if they revolt. Then I'll have a free shot at annexing them, which will be nice. Bread, butter, ballot. With the price of meat soaring across the country, the Republican Party is finding itself under relentless pressure from the opposition, accused of recklessly toying with the welfare of the citizens. High price of meat? Humbug! In my youth, we'd make do with even less than what you have now for double the labor. These outrageous food prices are nothing more than the musings of hysterical housewives. They'll just have to find something else to eat. Minus 20% momentum. Or fun soup kitchens. A man with a full ability makes fewer mistakes. Costs us a huge barrel of cash. I'm going to do the first one. I don't care if the Republicans lose momentum because we're going to, because they're going to be fine. With that having been said, why is the price of meat so high? Does my meat packing industry become unprofitable somehow? No, they're doing it. Hold on. They're doing it. They're fine. They're doing fine. They just think they're not doing well, but they're fine. That having been said, I know I can produce more meat. I don't want to necessarily do it in Africa because there's a lot of resources in Africa that I would prefer to take advantage of. So let's provide. Well, they're not very profitable in Virginia. Arkansas, though. Arkansas has got plenty of arable land. Missouri, great places for increasing the meatpacking industry. Michigan, we'll throw in another 20 levels there. So how much of an increase is this overall? That's like a 30% increase. That's fine. I'm very happy with that. We've almost got a hold of all of Peru, of all of the northern part of Peru. The communists are holding the southern part, and that's probably not going to be a problem for us.
Excellent. Colonization is complete here in East Congo. Let's go ahead and hit the incorporate button. We'll throw 5 levels of market access into the queue here. Incorporation is going to complete in 16 years. Tanganyika is already... Rift Valley is already, and Uganda is already ready to go. Alright, perfect. We haven't yet hit our point where we can claim Kenya. We'll keep working on that. How's the election looking? Socialists project to get 57% of the vote. That's a that's a rock solid ratio. Uh-oh. Alright, so you guys... I'm just going to have you walk to Panama for now. And there's a very good reason for that, which is we're going to be annexing countries down here for a little bit. Alright, so USA versus Peru war, that's going to sort itself out in good time. Japan is having another civil war. Well, that's right. The French balkanized Spain. That's very funny. Alright, so Asturias has a positivist revolt, and Sardinia-Piedmont is on one side of it, which is interesting. So, the mechanization of farming. The grand project of mechanizing agriculture throughout the United States of America is complete. Never before has such abundant yields been tallied. I got a brand new combine harvester. That's fantastic. You think I could borrow it once you finish your harvests? Of course. I'll lend you the key. I'm glad we can work together in such perfect harmony. Distribute surplus food to the poor, extra welfare payments for 15% yield. 15 years? Let me try that one again. For 5 years, 15% increased welfare payments, but could yields be even higher? 20% increased rye farms building throughput. Not plantations, though, only farms. I'm going to pick the higher yields. I think that's sensible. And that's the election. Making Hannibal Marsh our new president with a nice, clean, legitimate government in the hands of the socialists. So, any other changes we want to do? I've gotten by well enough with no Social Security. On the other hand, old age pensions would reduce my workforce ratio. I do have a certain number of unemployed pops, and that would reduce it. Extra food security, increased dependence income, increased building wage target, though, but not too much more than wage subsidies. It's tempting. It's tempting. I'm going to see if they petition the government for it. We'll see what happens. I would be happy with it if it happened. Dieter Arntz, a reactionary nihilist aligned with the petite bourgeoisie, has appeared in America. So, Peru, you ready to be a protectorate? No. 2 more weeks? Fine. How much money are we getting from tolls these days? Strait of Hormuz is on medium tolls. I may have made a mistake doing that. Put them back to low. I don't want to necessarily have a problem there. Do a promotion. The Southern Planters demand the promotion of Brigadier General Eugene Crowninshield, touting his history of loyal and effective service. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath. But it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on Quincy's face when the lieutenant general learned of his imminent ascension. Their rivalry was legendary among the officers. At last, he would have his due. Eugene Crowninshield has earned it. He's promoted to Major General, and the Southern Planters become happier. Or the Southern Planters will not force our hand. The industrialists become happier, the Southern Planters get pissed, and Eugene Crowninshield loses popularity. I'm going to pick the second one. I don't like those guys. Black gold, black money. An inquiry has revealed that government politician Edward Quincy's recent wealth has been accumulated through bribes from oil companies, allowing them to lease land without bidding. So basically, what's going on here is this. Just to give you a little bit of a briefing on what this means. Leasing land without bidding, normally when the government wants oil exploited on government-owned land, it says, we're going to lease this land out to the oil company that gives us the best deal to turn this, to exploit the oil, to set up wells and start outputting oil. And the reason there's a bidding process is because that makes the economy more competitive. What's happened here is that these oil execs have bribed Edward Quincy, and he's in turn allowed them to get the land without bidding for it, meaning that the government gets a worse price, but the oil barons get a better price. They don't have to pay the government as much to lease the land, which is better for them. So that's what's gone on here, and it's not legal. In an investigation like this, there's a way to know you're on the right track. It's that records of what you look for start to go missing. The harder you look, the more it disappears, until it appears as if a man conjured his fortune from nothing. Once you force them to make it look like magic, you can start figuring out the trick. We must make an example of all parties in this scandal. Edward Quincy receives a harsh sentence and is forced to resign. He's the leader of the industrialists. Or no, he's leader of the intelligentsia. Interesting. And the industrialists get pissed off. An elected official abusing his position is a severe crime. Edward Quincy receives a harsh sentence, is forced to resign, and the trade unions become unhappy. So both of these are he gets fired. This one pisses off the industrialists, this one the trade unions. The second one is corporate leaders undermining our government cannot be allowed to walk free. This has reduced legitimacy. Pissed off industrialists. And then even great people make mistakes. This can all be settled with some fines. This one pisses off the trade unions and reduces our legitimacy. So either way, we're going to make an example of Quincy. Do I want to piss off my industrialists or my trade unions? I think my trade unions. I need their approval less. Alright, industrialists are very pleased. That's better for our investment queue. Full Bay National Awakening. Lovely. Now the question is, since I've thoroughly satisfied my industrialists, is now a good time to snag some better laws? And I don't rightly need workers' protections. I think I'm gonna go to old age pensions. I think we're gonna do it. So now my industrialists are a little pissed off, but that's okay. I can negotiate with the intelligentsia or the industrialists. I don't think I need to do with either. I think I can get there on my own steam. And Peru has surrendered. So, I'm going to start improving relations with them. Lobbyist lectures in New York. Let me just go ahead and declare neutrality on these other situations. Japan, I don't care. Aragon, not my business. Wow, a bunch of the states in Spain are having problems. Interesting. And Iberia are having problems. They're not in Spain, and that's part of the issue. A man employed by a powerful member of the American British Fellowship is delivering lectures and pamphlets addressed to targeted constituencies in New York. One lawmaker writes to a fellow politician. Each day he finds me. I know not how. I'm quite disturbed. What are his aims? That hired emissary of the American British Fellowship haunts the doors of the American Assembly much like the ghost of the murdered Banquo. Make it clear that lobbies are responsible for the emissaries they hire, slightly weaker industrialists, extra legitimacy, or any concerns about the emissaries' behavior are unfounded, stronger industrialists. I'm going to pick the first one. The industrialists are holding back my my old age pension legislation. Bedouin national movement's starting to pop off again, which is a shame. But it is what it is. So, I've added some... Can we empty this queue here? Oh no, we're not even close to empty. I don't know how I could have thought we'd be empty. Actually, no. This number is how I thought it could have been empty. But it is what it is. Alright, North Dakota, Virginia, and South Dakota all have electricity shortages. So let's see how things are doing there. Yep, we need more levels of electricity, and the private sector is building levels here. North Dakota needs a subsidy and another level, and South Dakota needs a subsidy, surely, and 4 more levels, and that should be fine. Also, the investment pool is really, really full, so let's get more construction rolling. How long until I can just max it? Let's just go buck wild here. Let's just build a comical amount of construction. Is this unreasonable? We'll find out. It's only like a 17% increase. Ooh, concrete fortifications. Lovely. And we're working on mobile armor. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Haha, yes. German victory over Russia. Ooh, this is good. And conquer Romagna, conquer Lazio, regime change in Rome. Curious. Ooh. Oh, weird. Their Holy Roman Empire maxing. They're trying to take back bits of Italy. That's wild. That's wild. Wow, that was very fast to build all that construction. Let's see if the private sector is able to use it. I've made steel very expensive. Have I made glass very expensive? Doesn't look like it, which I'm kind of delighted by. I wonder if I should produce more automobiles. Most expensive good on the world market. It's radios. Followed closely by automobiles, but there's plenty of supply of all of these. All right. Well, never mind. We'll simply continue to manage our own stuff. That's right. I was going to build more art. Let's see. We need about a 50% increase. Hey, we got a study. We're already at study. Arts academies. Wow, not a lot of these are profitable. Curious. We don't have that many. Quite curious. But the ones in Arkansas are. So, let's build up 10 levels. That's going to be all the art production buildup we need. Probably we're going to need a little bit more power to handle the increased electricity use of those arts academies, those movie studios. So let's go ahead and do that. Hey, Venezuela, you going to try to fight me? No, they're not going up that much. So it'd be 19 infamy to annex Colombia. And I can't demand an annex of Venezuela while they're at high liberty desire. What if I goof them up a little bit? There we go. So now they're at 97 liberty desire. Come on. Fight me. Fight me, Venezuela. Tell you what. I'll stop improving relations. How do you like them apples? I'm building a lot of stuff here. Basque mass immigration, very cool. Very cool. Standard of living continuing to increase, which I'm feeling pleased by. What percentage of my nation is upper strata at this point? Let's take a look at society. Religions, classes. Upper strata is 2.4 million. It's pretty high. That's over 2%. Or that's over 1%, which is bananas. Pretty rad. Middle strata is at 50 million, which is over 25%. The power of math. The price of war. Old veterans have spoken out in favor of old age pensions, rallying many in the armed forces to support the reform. I cannot emphasize how much the brutality of war on the human mind comes down to uncertainty. Uncertainty about when the enemy will attack. Uncertainty about where you will wake up days from now. Uncertainty about if you will wake up days from now, and about who will still be with you if you do. Many feel uncertain about what will happen to them if they die. All we ask is the relief of having some certainty of what will happen to us if we live. Military veterans are our highest priority in the new pension system. So 10% enactment success chance, stronger and happier armed forces, weaker and saltier trade unions, but only by a little bit. But it adds a rider called veterans pensions, extra welfare payments, extra training rate. Interesting. That's interesting. That's pretty good. High training rate is generally very good. Or all workers serve their country in their own way, 20% enactment success chance. Interesting. Ooh, I have a hard decision to make. Because veterans pensions is potentially very, very good long term. But I often find that my welfare payments end up being substantial. So this could be very good, though. Nah, I'm very high-tech. I got very high training rate. I don't need it. I'm going to pick the second one. All workers serve the nation in their own way. And that just gives us 20% enactment success chance, which brings us up to 45%, which is a very good, solid number. Iron is still expensive, which is a shock. Truthfully a shock. Ooh. Where do I have silk plantations? Oh, right, American Armies. That's funny. I completely forgot. Right. Where can I produce more iron? I can go through this interface, is where I can do it. Iron mines. Plenty of capacity in Tennessee. Not a lot of labor available there, but if I build it, they will come. Alabama, significantly more labor available here. Michigan, some labor available here. And we'll build up Tennessee as well. Some iron available in Vermont, which is interesting. I'm actually going to build up a lot more in these smaller states in the Northeast because they have... those states chronically go into employment shocks late in the game as they get spiraling low population, and I can fix that. Santo Domingo is likely to try to increase autonomy. Fair enough. They are still going up in Liberty Desire, though not by much. We got their relations up to cold, and if we can get them lower than that, they'll start going down. They're also going up because of infamy, but again, not necessarily a problem for me if they do. Improve relations with IT here. Korean National Awakening. Excellent. Metis National Awakening. Very cool. Oil and Pastaza. Oh, that's good for me. There's that. Where's Pastaza? Here we go. Ooh, and there's rubber here too. Wonderful. Where else can I throw in a little bit more rubber? Nowhere else. Grassroots support for law. The political wills and desires of the lower classes will always remain an opaque matter. For whatever reason, support for old age pensions is spread like wildfire across the United States of America, spurred on by charismatic speakers and lively debates in small-time social clubs. They're backing what now? Well, who are we to complain? While their support was never a prerequisite for success, it sure doesn't hurt to have it either. Public enthusiasm expedites reform, stronger labor movement forever, stronger trade unions for 5 years, or use this common ground to calm the masses. 20% of lower-strung pops in Wadai become more loyalist. How large is the population of Wadai? Not that high, so that's not that useful. What is the labor movement going to help me accomplish? Not all that much more. But let's do it. Stronger labor movement, don't mind if I do. Ah, yes, and this. Santo Domingo wants greater autonomy, I will decline. Fight me, vassals. Vassals, fight me. Alright, so from here... that knocked relations back down. Well, what a shame. It is what it is, though. Ooh, an Accra uprising. Interesting. Not that that really affects me none, but it is what it is. Is Accra part of... Accra is... That's that entire state, huh? Interesting. Quite curious. I for some reason I thought it was not. So 75% chance they say yes if I try to annex. If I don't, Costa Rica will step in, Mexico will step in, will Venezuela step in? Doesn't look like it, which is curious. That'll put me in a lot of infamy. 75% chance. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Annexed. They said no. Exciting. Alright, we'll just put this army on the front. No big deal. I've missed 75% chances before in life. In life and in Victoria 3. I'm going to mobilize the Marines just in case Venezuela decides to get involved. Ooh. Russia withdrew from our trade deal, which is sad, but it is what it is. I don't think I need to mobilize anyone else unless someone else decides to get involved, which I don't think they will. Am I short on naval administration again? I am. That's unfortunate. Alright. Oh, I've got a new naval fortification method. Alright, let's see. Let's build up Oregon, California. Let's build up the Old South. And let's build up the small states in the Northeast, shall we? And then we'll do Indiana and Illinois. Now, am I building those right now? No, because I'm still working on the iron mines. So I'll throw those at the top of the queue. Those will go really fast. This probably was a dumb way to do this, but them's the breaks. I've already started doing it, so there's no reason to stop now. I swear this won't be too long. I do like this song. This is a very nice song. New Place to Call Home, I think it's called. Alright, perfect. Now we're building naval administration. I wish these mini fleets would all come in the same fleet, but I understand why they don't. Because they come out at different times. Discord within the petite bourgeoisie. An influential faction within the petite bourgeoisie has grown frustrated with their co-members' neutrality on the topic of old age pensions. Themselves in favor of the law, they've now resolved to form a separate political faction intent on passing it. How can you all stand idly by and watch the world pass before your eyes? Have you no sense of honor, of duty to your fellow man? I say nay to such lack of ambition, and I dare say I'm not alone in this. With their support, the bill shall pass, 15% increase in accurate success chance, petite bourgeoisie slightly weaker, or the trade unions extend an open hand to these mavericks. Stronger trade unions, weaker petite bourgeoisie, not as much an accurate success chance. I'm going to pick the second one. Stronger trade unions is good for me. Front's looking fine. Nobody appears to be stepping in here, which is a little bit odd. Cuba... Interesting. Cuba would like to be handed Santo Domingo, and I'm inclined to give it to them. Let's do it. Alright, that's good. Now I could bring in Canada. Why can't I, though? Unclear. Ditto for Mexico. Well, Mexico doesn't want to. I have a they'd accept, but it is what it is. Wild wells. Blowouts, oil fires, and other lethal accidents are becoming more common as the hunt for oil in Arkansas grows more ruthless. You think you've seen fire, but you've never seen fire like this, he said, giving the young man a stern look. And you better pray you don't, because if you haven't been out there on the oil fields, the only place you'd ever see it is hell itself. Where there's oil, there will be blood, happier industrialists, unhappy trade unions, extra oil industry employee mortality, or pressure the owners to take a more careful approach. Reduced oil extractors' throughput, happier trade unions, pissed off industrialists. I'm actually going to pick the first one, not deliberately to cause mortality, but because my Perfect. All right. So these ships are all getting where they're going now because now they've got staff. All right. Perfect. I got it sorted. And I didn't even need to goof up doing it all individually. The troop transfer fleet is now significantly over limit. So let's decommission all these old troop ships. So that has significantly reduced their transport capacity. But hey, them's the breaks. Perhaps we'll throw in some super dreadnoughts. And maybe the troop transfer fleet will be a fleet that can fight after all. all a ruse. The troop transfer fleet is our most dangerous fleet. That would be funny. That would be extremely funny. North Africa interest tier decreased. This is taking its sweet time popping off, which is a little curious. But I don't think it's an issue. Wow, yeah, they really, all the places in Iberia are just, they're all shooting at each other. Wow, France, you really goofed up the Iberian peoples pretty bad, I must say. I gave them a boat. I gave them several boats. Photographs of the United States of America. It has been suggested that we take and distribute some pictures of our country's most famous landmarks. So many wonderful places all across the country. It just seems right that the world gets to see them too. We should distribute them internationally, extra prestige. We should distribute them domestically, extra legitimacy. I don't need the prestige. I don't really need the legitimacy either. I had forgotten that it was prestige, not influence. I was hoping I could get influence, because influence would give me infamy decay, and infamy decay is something I really, really need right now. That having been said... Alright. So, Santo Domingo... Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. They're part of... Oh, they're the Antillean Confederation now. Interesting. Curious. No objections here, though. Enemy of my enemy. Building on the perceived common enmity to the Ottoman Empire, pro-British associations have become a commonplace with the patriotically inclined yeoman farmers. The assembled gentlemen thoughtfully nodded along to the words of the speaker. As long as the Ottoman Empire remains a threat, no asset to be utilized against her remains unwelcome. For every British effort undertaken at the expense of Constantinople is one less effort they would have to undertake themselves. Encourage them. Great Britain's cause is ours. Yeoman Farmers joins the American-British Fellowship. Appeasement goes up by 3. Deteriorates relations to the Ottomans by 20. The Yeoman Farmers are entitled to their opinion. They join it. Or our relations to the Ottoman Empire take precedence. 10% chance they join it regardless. 90% chance they get really pissed off. Appeasement goes down. I'm going to pick the first one. Getting a little bit of extra appeasement in my British-American Fellowship, which is the industrialists, evangelicals, and now yeoman farmers, is just all bonuses for me. Alright. So, Colombia, we're fully taking over. I think next I turn around and do the same for Venezuela, but first, I need to take a look at what territories I need to release Gran Colombia as an entire state. Because that's the goal. Destroyer and Protector. Thomas Peabody has made use of destroyer ships in the ongoing conflict, teaching us more about how they're best utilized. So I understand torpedo boat destroyer is the more accurate name? Not at all. I believe they can be designed to destroy all kinds of things. No one will dare attack our convoys now. 20% extra screening, that's pretty neat. Or they make up an important part of our fleet's extra ship armor. I'm gonna go with the ship armor, that's bananas. So, fun fact. Oh, man. Man, Santo Domingo is really creating a problem for me. With our bad relations. I could pull Guatemala into my block, but I actually want to conquer them. Alright, so we are winning naval battles here by the Galapagos Islands. This is the Galapagos Rise, so this has to be the Galapagos Islands. Alright, beautiful. And we are in the capital. They're going for a return war goal on Panama, which is brave. Rousing speech captivates the public. This afternoon, Hannibal Marsh, leader of the trade unions, delivered a fiery speech advocating for the enactment of old age pensions. Making an appearance before the public in New York's main square, Hannibal Marsh's powerful rhetoric left even his most embittered political opponents impressed. Excerpts from the speech are already being circulated across the United States of America, fanning the fires of an already roaring debate. This should ease the path to reform greatly, extra enactment success chance. Or performances like this reflect well on Hannibal Marsh and his cause. Not as much enactment success chance, but he gets extra popularity and the trade unions get stronger. I'm going to go with the second one. Stronger trade unions is good for me. I am improving relations with Ecuador, am I not? I am. Their liberty desire is going up very fast. Oh, right, because of my infamy. Because I got a huge pile of infamy. That's okay. That's okay. It's fine. It's all fine. It's completely fine. What if I just went buck wild on infamy? Would that be silly? It's a little late in the campaign to do much with it, but I could. The Hartford Advocate, an explicitly partisan newspaper founded by members of the Bedouin National Movement in Hartford, has published its first issue. Between advertisements and political cartoons, it hosts a ruthless critique of government policy. There was a certain brilliance to it. By skimping on ink, by printing it on the cheapest paper, by flooding it with advertisements in large text, one could produce a profitable paper for only a penny per copy, whilst its competitors sold for 5 to 10 times that amount. By making that paper relentlessly and shamelessly endorse a certain viewpoint, one could have every working person in the city aware of it by evening. If one's competitors refused to stoop that low, they would become responsible for their own suffocation. How long can a partisan paper last? Slightly stronger Bedouin National Movement. Or is that so? Deny them a printing license. Weaker Bedouin National Movement, more active. I'm actually going to pick the second one. It might fall out of activity. Because I think it's 0% support. It doesn't have the ability to pop off. It won't get any states if it rebels. The Bedouin National Movement, I mean. Alright, so how's our market looking now? Use more steel. Still use more rubber. Use more lead. We're importing lead. How are we net lead importers? I don't want to be a lead importer. Give me some more lead. Where have we got lead available? Kansas. Ohio. Alabama's got more labor available for this. Arkansas, plenty of labor available. Yeah, that should be fine. That should be more than enough. How much am I increasing the lead supply by here? 50%. Yeah, that should be more than sufficient. Are my iron mines fully employed? They are. Gosh. I guess we'll build up more iron supply. I had no idea we were so far below our iron utilization. But I want to be producing all my own iron. I want to have as much iron as I can have. So yeah, we'll max out our northeastern states. Let's see, Alabama's got plenty of labor available. Tennessee, not as much labor available as I would like. What about the African states? Don't actually have that many. I've got quite a bit in Tanganyika. Or no, these are not in my market. No, they are. They are. All right. So we'll build up there as well. How much infrastructure we got available? Oh, plenty. And refugee also needs market access. We'll build up, finish out the iron mines here as well. All right. So there's old age pensions. I've goofed up my my bureaucracy once again, but I can definitely build more of it. Let me see. Anywhere I'm a little bit low? New Jersey. Oh, no, that's obstinance from New Jersey. It's only something I don't know. Sorry. Development, government, tax capacity. Low tax capacity in Louisiana. Throw a few of those in there. A little bit low on infrastructure in New Jersey. Not to worry. We'll build up a bunch of levels. Alright, so that'll be fine. We're getting very close to finishing out our war. And then perhaps we'll turn around and hit Venezuela. Oh, we have a truce with them. Interesting. Alright, that's fine. When I release Gran Colombia, I can just start transferring states. That's the other way I can do this. And as long as I don't... It shouldn't cause me any infamy to transfer states between my subjects. And on top of this, so the other advantage of doing this way is that my... when I release Gran Colombia, they'll have my laws, so they'll be very pleased. They'll be overall a very well-structured country with a strong welfare state and all that other good stuff. All this other delicious stuff that we've got here in America. Excellent. Lower stratum standard of living is significantly increasing, and that's good. Let me see. Could still output more. Well, no, I didn't finish outputting more iron. All right. So now, diplomacy, release subject. I thought I saw them. So there's Colombia. Okay, maybe I need... Maybe I need to hold more territory there directly first. If not, I simply release them into Venezuela, and that will be what it is. Alright, now I should still have truces with Ecuador and Peru. So let's see how much longer those will last. 27 months for Ecuador, and for Peru, 3 years. Venezuela, my truce lasts significant... Oh no, it's only 11 months. Alright, well, we'll chill a little bit. Taming Amazonia. Alright, so this is the Exploiting the Amazon event. We've seen this before. This is just to get the ball rolling on Amazon exploitation, but I can't do anything about that while I'm only holding a tiny bit of Amazonas, most of which is held by Brazil, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. Now, did I have a starvation problem? Actually, hold on. Before we do this, let's reset production methods. Okay, not sure what was up with that. Let me take a look at my industrial sectors. Okay, furniture manufactories. You're supposed to be at rotary valve, aren't you? Ooh, I can get them on assembly line. Let's get them on assembly line. That should make them very productive. What about you for assembly line? You don't like it. Tooling workshops, you still want to be on handmade. Paper mills, you want to be on water tube boiler. Synthetics plants, you want to be producing rayon, that's fine. Motor industries, you want to stay on hand assembly. That's fine. Again, diesel engines uses way more oil than we've got. So much more oil than we've got that it's bananas. How many cars are we producing? We're producing quite a few cars. We're exporting quite a few cars too. But them's the breaks. We're importing coal somehow. That's curious. Let's do that, and let's exploit our own coal, please. I'll exploit my own coal, thank you. I'm chock full. Let's see. Kansas and Colorado both have a whole ton of coal and infrastructure available. That should be enough. That should be more than enough. Oh, I'm producing so many resource industries. It's bananas. Yeah, look at that literacy. Look at that GDP. Heck. Might be able to get to level. Might be able to get to 2 billion. Probably not. Not super likely. Especially because I've only got 10 years from here. But you know, could do. All right. So as well, you've got a truce until June of 27. They'll be next for the annexing. I'll feel very silly if all of this ends with me just releasing Colombia again and then just handing them all this territory. But if it works, if it does end up being better, I'll be pleased about it. It will ultimately end up being better if I release Colombia, because I'll be getting a oh, wonderful. I'll be getting a very useful thing out of it, which is a stronger subject. Germany, you want to liberate Egypt? Interesting. Let's fight. Oh, what could I possibly want? Not to steal a state, that's for sure. Not to liberate Limburg. Liberate Rome? Could do. That'd be fun. Regime change? No. No. Interesting. Great Britain is not allied with them. And not particularly interested in getting involved. I'm going to liberate Rome. That's what I'm going to do. Actually, though, how much of my industry do you own? Hold on. So not much, but not very much at all. Wait, am I looking at the wrong thing? I think I'm looking at the wrong thing. 7% of American GDP is foreign owned. Okay. One level. All right, not even close to worth it. All right. Nationalized Egyptian buildings. No reason to do that. Yeah, we'll liberate Rome. Cool. Just in time. Lovely to hit that upgrade all units button. What else do I wish to be researching? Let's do... Let me see. In society, I've got a little bit more... Could do mass propaganda. Could do mass surveillance. Could do macroeconomics. That's going to spread to me by itself, though. Modern financial instruments, that would be very good for me financially. This will give me a little bit of extra authority for mass propaganda. Behaviorism would give me extra influence, though. And look, philosophy would just give me more innovation. Let's get behaviorism. I have everything I could possibly want in military, probably. I'm very confident in my military overall. Arc welding would give me a better steel method, so let's do that. And then we'll just knock out these other labor savers and continue on as we go here. Mobile. No. I'm gonna wait a few weeks. I'm gonna wait a few weeks because Japan withdraws from the Osaka Convention. Well, that's a shame. Alright, that gives us a shortage of tanks. But how much of a shortage? Let's ask the market. 30. Well, I guess that makes sense because we weren't producing any before. So, where do I want to produce my tanks? Let's see. It's 50. 50 per level. This is minus 10. Okay, alright. So, we'll produce tanks in New York. This is going to lead to a huge... It's going to change up their profit margins significantly. But I should need enough tanks for it to be... worth it. Let me take a quick look at my armies. And see that they're... mostly on mechanized infantry. Oh, not yet. Not yet. We're still taking our sweet time. Taking our sweet time. Alright, I think I'm actually going to mobilize now regardless. I can definitely afford it. Coastal Defense Forces can have their conscripts raised for sure. Southern Coastal Defense Force needs a general. Let's see. Winfield Osborne? You're in. Let me see. Any other force need a leader? Doesn't appear so. Okay. Now, do I mobilize the regular army? I can't because they're technically abroad. Army of Observation. Let's raise those conscripts. Interestingly, the conscript forces are still largely in the squad infantry territory, which is curious. I'm gonna raise the Suez Canal. I'm gonna raise the conscripts of the Suez Canal Force. Army of East Africa. I think I'm going to raise the conscripts for them too. They're still partially upgrading, but that'll get them rolling. I think if there's not a front, I don't need to raise too many conscript forces here. So let's leave things where they are for now. Actually, let's put our fleets into action here. I'm going to have the Atlantic Fleet blockade the Southern North Sea? The Southern Bight. And that's the North Sea. Alright, that makes sense. And then the Trade Interdiction Fleet will have you blockade the Southern Baltic. And that should lock down all German trade. Once the war starts, of course. So let's see who's going to get involved here. Let me see. If I bring in the Canadians... the call ally, they'll get to assign a war goal. I don't necessarily want that. Could offer them an obligation instead. I think I'll leave that for the time being. If I call in the Qasimid state... Where are you? You're over here. What would you want? Transfer of Yemen. Alright, that's not going to happen. Alright, come at me, German Empire. In fact, speaking of which, let's just go ahead and send the Pacific Fleet to Port Bombard in the Southern Bight. And in fact, what about the Oceanic Fleet? Are they doing anything right now? Doesn't seem like it. We'll send them to Port Bombard in the southern Baltic. And that'll be just fine. Perfect. So, again, I don't think I can necessarily do more damage to Germany. What if I call France in? Would France be interested? No, France does not want to be in at all. That's a shame, because I could really clean up if they were involved. Could really steal a lot of German territory. Alright, so troop transfer fleet is back here in the United States. So I think I will simply send the Marine Corps to invade Rome when the time comes. And then that'll be the war, basically. They won't be holding their war goal, and I will be holding mine. Ooh, increased max companies. Increased Maxwell J companies. That's fine. I don't remember if this is the song. No, this isn't the song that whoever it is keeps copywriting. Paradox said these songs were in the open domain, were in the public domain. So I don't know why someone keeps saying they're theirs, but that's a question between Paradox and them, frankly. That's my take on the whole situation. Ooh, extra innovation. That's pretty strong. Motor industries throughput, standard oil, railways throughput, army and fleet speed. That's very, very good. Ooh, I'm doing it. I need an automotive industry company anyway. Ooh, actually, no. Is there one I can get that produces better cars? That's the main question here. I'm looking for better cars. Ooh, I can get better furniture. That's really strong. An extra loyalist from political movements is also pretty freaking good. Better small arms. Here's better clothes. Better groceries. Birth rate's not as good as it used to be because they rebalanced the whole population thing. I don't think we really need any of these other companies. What's this? Oh, that's pure opium. Yeah, let's not do that. Sea Island cotton. Okay, all right. So I don't have a better car company, so we'll just do the fleet and ooh, radiola radios. That's really, really good, actually. Ooh. I would like to be the world's leading radio producer, but I would also like to have faster armies. So we'll do the car company. Can't go wrong with a car company in this game. I'll tell you what. All right. We'll give them investment rights. And there's the war with the German Empire popping off. So we'll grab our Marine Corps. We will invade. Oh, it's over here. Oh, weird. Interesting. We'll just send the troop transfer fleet. No reason to get weird with this. Yeah, and we're just shooting at the coast of Germany now. Let's see. 79k at full presence. Where do I see the blocking percent? 84%. So they're 79k. Now this fleet is 106k total, and they're already at 100%. So Germany's fully blockaded over there, whereas the trade and interdiction fleet is only partially blockading. So what if I increase the size of the fleet? That seems like a reasonable way to do things. And I know just with what. And that's 10 aircraft carriers. Huzzah! And that'll probably be enough. I'm going to throw those actually at the top of the queue because I want them sooner. And I think aircraft carriers take a long time to build. We'll find out when I'm over here. Yeah, 119 weeks. Cool. I'm so smart and good at video games. But that's okay. That's okay, we got this. Alright. Prejudiced employers. Siouan people are having a hard time getting employed in Colorado due to the prejudices of some Afro-American employers. I want to apply for a warehouse job. They took one look at me and told me the job wasn't for my kind. Work is for everyone, reduced authority, or it's up to the bosses to decide if they hire -2 standard of living for Siouan in Colorado. Work is for everyone. It's so little authority it barely registers. Falling in line. The Southern Planters, prominent supporters of the Democratic Party, have proposed support for the Anti-French Society to be a component of the official party platform. I've considered the risks and am willing to push it forwards. The fact of the matter is that voters do not and never have cared for anything outside our borders. Even if the climate shifts heavily against the French Republic in the coming months, we may still run an internal policy without compromising our more wide-ranging principles. Sorry, refilling my water over here. I see the rationale. Nevertheless, I would like to know more before committing to a side. The stance our nation takes must not be informed by the whims of ideologues, but rather hard necessity. The party stands together on this. Evangelicals joins the Anti-French Society, and be accused of foreign puppeteering. Weaker Southern Planters. You don't pick weaker Southern Planters. Not even a question. I don't know why we're... Okay, so we have a Piedmontian uprising against Austria, taking up the territory we need to take. Which means our war goal has become humiliate. That's actually uncomfortable and annoying. Because this means we have to naval invade them. Giants of the Seas. Gettier Mariam's use of battleships in the ongoing war have demonstrated that these massive constructions may still serve a purpose in modern naval warfare. The young girl looked wide-eyed at the ship floating in the harbor. It looks like it took all the world's steel to build. How many such boats are there? Of this immensity, only one. The Admiral replied, but you can be sure that as soon as our enemies find out about it, there will be 2, miss. Their presence will be a compelling argument, extra influence. By their might will rule the seas, extra prestige from Navy power projection, or it will put this tactical experience to good use, extra progress on modern battlefield tactics. Modern battlefield tactics hardly gets you anything. So I'm just going to go for the extra influence. Now, this is interesting because I'm going to need to land a force with the troop transfer fleet. And the troop transfer fleet doesn't have nearly as much carrying capacity as it had a little while ago. I think I might need to use the Atlantic Fleet, my nerds. That's what I'm going to have to do. Alright, so we'll keep bombarding ports over here causing devastation, but we'll put the trade interdiction fleet. They are still blockading, and they're successfully blockading. They've got 199 carrying capacity. Actually, they'll be fine. Let's take them off blockade. And that should... it looks like it's not bringing them back directly, so we'll bring them back directly. Now, where is the regular army? The regular army is down here. So, we are going to naval invade Hanover, taking the trade interdiction fleet. So that's interesting. That's interesting. I've learned a lot. I wonder what it would look like if I sent, for example, the Home Defense Fleet to partially blockade ports over here. I think that would be sensible. So, how's devastation looking? It's looking pretty substantive. I've done a lot of damage. And Atlantic Fleet has totally blockaded this area. We're at 100% blockading. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Ooh. Well, I guess I'll need to send the Pacific Fleet to, oh no, the Pacific Fleet's up there already. Well, goodness. Hey, reading campaign. Hey, we got above 95% literacy. That's delightful. Wonderful. Alright, so here comes the regular army. I'm going to raise conscripts to the Army of Observation. I wasn't thinking at all about that and completely forgot. Expeditionary Force will do the same. So they'll have armies ready to reinforce in when the time comes. The enemy is significantly raiding us. I wonder if it makes more sense to go after enemy invasion fleets. I think probably yes. I think probably yes. Nevertheless, let's see what kind of... here, we're going to have 36% blockade efficiency over here. And that should be fine. Alright, now the Army of Observation needs... Oh, they need a general. Interesting. Let's get them... We'll probably get a new character. Cornelius McClernand is erudite, but he's also brave, so he's perfect. You're going to need a promotion? No, not yet. Not until later. Not until the army is larger. Alright, so let's take a look at the regular army's invasion here. Force comparison is really good. They've only sent a small... Okay, they're sending a much larger force now. So we'll see how the attack looks. Oil in Cajamarca, very good. Now, where are you going? Hard to tell. Probably to Sicily. Probably to the southern front. No? Where are you going? You're going to Africa. Interesting. Actually... You know, I had an opportunity to make this guy higher rank, and I simply did not. That was dumb. That was dumb of me. I admit it. I admit that was dumb. This is rightly raising the specter of a forever war, my nerds. We might be in this for the long haul because our war goal changed. Alright. What is... Okay, so the home defense fleet has pretty high carrying capacity. The expeditionary force is fully mobilized at this stage, pretty well fully mobilized. So, let's send the expeditionary force on their own invasion using the... Actually, the oceanic fleet has enough carrying capacity for them. So, let's send a new invasion to Kiel using the oceanic fleet. Now, we are losing our invasion battle here. But I feel we can win this. Home defense fleet. Let's get you... You're not sufficiently blockading. So let's get you hunting enemy fleets. Which means we're going to need to do a little bit of micromanagement here. Now we're also going to need to hunt the 7th fleet. German fleet. Alright, Army of Observation. McClernand, you now need a promotion. Why are they not willing to accept promotions for these armies where we're below command limit? That's so weird to me. I don't get it. I guess the low command limit is only reducing the maximum... The speed of organization gain, maybe? We'll see. I need to keep an eye on it. I think that's the answer here. Well, I think I may need to cancel this naval invasion and raise more conscripts. Raise my conscripts in the regular army, because this is getting pretty buck wild. Okay, here's the button. Yeah, we're gonna cancel that. We're gonna cancel both these naval invasions. And when the regular army gets home, where are you headed now? Okay. I think when the regular army gets home, we're gonna raise conscripts. Because I gotta be able to land with a larger force. Where are you going, buddy? No valid alternatives to frickin' North Africa? Okay, well that's curious. Let's have the Oceanic Fleet intercept this enemy force. How's the Army of Observation doing? Alright, so now they're going down in organization, which means now we can promote this guy. Alright, perfect. I wonder if Eugene Crown and Shield needs more whatever you call it. Hold on though. With the regular army, ooh, that means more gold in South Dakota. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I love gold. The heck is the regular army? Gosh dang it. Alright, so 285 is the limit, is the command limit. They're at 138, so they can take 150 more. Alright, so let me manage this a little bit. For artillery, we're going to cut the old ones, same with the Lancers. In fact, disband these Lancers. Let's get some heavy tanks in here. So these are going to be conscript heavy tanks. So again, we're going up to 150. So let's do 75. Hold on, I've got a state where I can put more units in. There we go. That should go pretty quickly. And that just evens out the number. Hey, exactly 100. I wonder what that does. Exactly 100? What? I'm filtered to unlocked. Why is... Oh, it's this one. No. Just show me the unlocked ones, please. Okay, never mind. This isn't important. Alright. So, I'm going to go with 75 total units of mech infantry. So that's 71. Where have I gotten an uneven number here? 3 in Tennessee and 1 in Colorado. All right, that puts us at 75. Okay. I'll go up to 80 just for cleanliness sake. We're gonna do 20 units of light tanks and 40 units of heavy tanks. You gotta be jerking me. I can't even set it up. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. The opium trade. Opium barons. Production at the opium plantations is booming, and foreign demand for opium could hardly be higher. The South German people of the German Empire have become so enamored with the stuff that has all but become the national pastime. The seeds of this flower, seemingly innocuous, are in truth the seeds of the fall of empires. Men will fight bloody wars to sate their gluttony for opium. They will sell their own mothers for another taste, and we'll be there to sell it to them. Keep the opium coming, extra plantations throughput, or take my pipe, my German friend. Trade advantage, and South Germany becomes obsessed with opium. This is so freaking cruel. We'll do it. We're at war with the Germans. Behind bars, the arrest and alleged ill treatment of a disorderly protester affiliated with the Bedouin national movement has sparked resentment among his compatriots. Further demonstrations have been arranged, urging his release. Prison was a miserable place. Iron bars, stone walls, and cold floors. In the past few weeks, the guards had taken to casually tapping their batons against the bars when they passed by, making sleep impossible. He could not even escape in his dreams, as the tension he felt in the waking world began to bleed into his sleep as well. All this for pushing a policeman away? He'd regretted it at first. Now, though, perhaps he could say that every one of them deserved that and more. Perhaps an early release for good behavior can be arranged. Pissed off intelligentsia, but lower political movement activism. Or, we'll not make an exception because of some hooligans. Increased political movement activism, happy intelligentsia. I'm going to pick the first one. Lowering their activism is just fine with me. Hell on earth. Workers of the herbal plantations in American Kenya are being severely mistreated. Mutilation has become a common punishment for perceived failures. They went on to declare, when asked why they had fled, that they had endured such ill treatment at the hands of the government officials and the government soldiers in their own country that life had become intolerable, that nothing had remained for them at home but to be killed for failure to bring in a certain amount of rubber or to die from starvation or exposure in their attempts to satisfy demands made upon them. We cannot slow down production, increase mortality of laborers on plantations in Kenya, or launch an inquiry into the conditions of the plantations, minus 25% rubber plantations throughput. I'm going to pick the second one. That just seems like a no-brainer to me. Oh, these oil well rigs in American Amazonas can't really build because of low, because of oh my gosh, the place is borked. The place is borked. Oh my gosh, and I can't reduce. No. Okay, well, all I can do is provide some trade capacity. That's going to have to do. We got another little by little event. I'm going to say we'll make Americans of them yet. We've seen that event 100 times. Alright, so when the regular army gets back on shore, we will build up their stuff. In fact, I'm tempted to scrap out the artillery and load up a bunch of professional heavy tanks. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Because if we're going to invade the German Empire, we're going to need to do it right. So let's go ahead and disband these units. And then we'll build some heavy tanks instead. Alright, we got a bunch of weird uneven numbers here. How many heavy tanks is this? This is 60. Alright, so that's perfect. And then we need another 50 of conscripts. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Except I'm holding the 10 button, so that's actually 50. Alright. Get the lads together, please. And these places should be... Oh, actually, I should have a new production method available for my military buildings. Yes! Mobile warfare tactics. Heck yes, heck yes, heck yes. So, regular army is now conscripting. So this is going to take a little time. But once this is a fully realized army, we'll be going buck wild over here. We'll be going everywhere and doing everything. I tell you what. Actually, a lot of these infantry have already... these infantry buildings have already been raised. Other side of the fence. People have been complaining about the difference in living standards between us and our neighbors in the Indian Territory. After the shop door swung shut, they exchanged a meaningful glance. She didn't even notice you gave her the wrong change. Why do you think I do it? Her sort, they can afford it. I'll be damned if the Indians think they can come in here and flaunt their wealth expecting us to just tolerate it. This is simply an example of global inequality. Stronger and happier trade unions. Clearly they're liars who cheat foreigners out of their money, deteriorates relations. Or it's the way things are not worth thinking about. 5% of pops in New Mexico become more radical. I'm going to pick the first one. Stronger and happier trade unions sounds good. This is happening because the Indian Territory has higher standard of living than we do. But the reason that's happening is because Oklahoma's population is pretty low compared to the entire United States. That having been said, our populations, our standard of living is pretty good. Lower Sternum are up to 16.5, which is really increasing our average by a lot. Alright, well, Pearly Quincy definitely needs more command capacity now. No, he doesn't? Bananas. Contradictory correspondence. Private inflammatory letters written by a member of the American-British Fellowship have been leaked to the national newspaper. British officials have taken notice and are displeased. The industrialists sent a representative on behalf of the American-British Fellowship to converse with the newspaper editors. The representative steers the conversation away from the leaked correspondence. Surely with the remarkable speed of the printing press, another essay can be authored and distributed. In the backdrop, the loud thrum of the printing press's cylinders carry on, indifferent to the machinations of the men who puppeteer them. The damage is already done, deteriorates relations with Great Britain by 10, or the letter should not be circulated further. 5% of industrials member pops become more loyal, but we lose 5 legitimacy. I'm going to pick the first one. By the way, I had meant to do, to increase my welfare level up to 2. That's also going to increase wages and dependent income, and that's going to be nice. So, where else does Germany have fleets? Where are they kicking about? Anywhere? That's not my invasion. Doesn't look like it. Alright, that's fine. That's port bombardment. So, trade and tradition fleet. We'll put you back on blockade. And we'll see what comes of that. As our regular army increases in size. Again, I need to be a little bit conscientious. Actually, yeah, we're on maximum. Alright, that's good. That's very good. 176 command limit. Okay, so it's 176 of each. So that's interesting. At least I think that's how it works. That's how it looks like it works to me. We're almost there, though. We're just seeing 14 more units of mechanized infantry and another 5 units of heavy tanks. And then we should be able to get there. Actually, I wonder if... I think I want to research stormtroopers. Oh boy, I'm almost ready with chemical warfare, though. Tell you what. Oh man. That's extreme. Let's do it. We'll throw stormtroopers in next. And then flamethrowers. Because we're having a land warfare deficit right now, my nerds. That's what we need to do. We got a land warfare gap. Golly, it's the professional units that are having a hard time mobilizing. Look at this. These heavy tank units are not set up yet. Okay, they're getting there. They're getting there. Actually, they're going even faster now. Wonderful. All right. We're going to be in an election cycle pretty soon. Ecuador is damaging relations, which is not ideal. I don't love it, TBH. How's my power block? It's doing okay. It's going down a little bit. Could be doing better. The bombing demonstration. A prominent proponent of naval air power, Thomas Peabody, has orchestrated a series of naval exercises, effectively bombing derelict hulks from high above with aircraft launched from other ships. No ship can escape the devastation of aircraft attacking from above. The most effective naval munitions of the future shall be a bomb from the skies, not a shell blasted from a deck. This exercise has shown beyond a shadow of a doubt that planes shall be the sword and shield of tomorrow's Navy. No Navy shall be as advanced as ours. extra prestige from Navy power projection, or Thomas Peabody should advance his cause better in the government, he becomes a politician. You know what? Sure, he can be a politician. Just make sure that doesn't goof up one of our fleets. It does a little bit. Interesting. I can't further increase the... The only thing I can do to fix up my Atlantic fleet further is to disband ships, or to take ships and put them somewhere else. These are destroyers. These modern ironclad 2s could probably go. How far above our command limit are we? We're only 5 above. Yeah, let's take a few of these modern ironclads, and we'll put them in the Oceanic Fleet. Just send them going, and that should... Alright, we're good. We're good with that. Perfect. Alright. We're getting there. We're getting there. Conscripts are almost fully raised. Professionals are working. It's so odd to me because this number lights up red like it's not sufficient, but then it actually is. Alright, we got an enemy fleet wandering over our way, the 7th German fleet. So we'll keep an eye on them, and ooh, we got another going somewhere else, the 8th German fleet. That's actually got their pride of the fleet in there. We will change region to here. Alright, and that should be... Okay, now they're going back this other way. See, this is annoying, right? Because, like, it shouldn't simply be a matter of... Like, fleets that are on interception should be seeking out and destroying enemy fleets. It shouldn't be the question of, like, playing whack-a-mole with fleet locations. To me, that is not the way this is supposed to function. All right. Let's go ahead and do this naval invasion. Put it in Hanover. We'll take the Atlantic Fleet. We have just enough transport capacity, so that will have to do. And are they on the way? They're on the way. Beautiful. So from here, do I pursue a multiple invasion strategy? I think yes. Troop transfer fleet has 96 capacity, so we'll send the expeditionary force to Kiel. Via the troop transfer fleet. And then we'll send the Army of Observation to Elba via the Home Defense Fleet. Oh no, that's not quite, they don't have quite enough. Via the Trade and Tradiction Fleet. So we're launching 3 separate naval invasions, all in different locations. I'm going to use the Home Defense Fleet, which is currently here in the English Channel, to... Oop, there's chemical warfare, very nice. To blockade Germany. Now, do we enable this method? No, because I don't want to lose organization. Alright. So we have quite a heavy amount of force available. We have a 13th Army. What are you? You're just extra conscripts from the from the primary force. Okay, that's fine. And we're in an election cycle. So, what's it look like? Socialists are way out ahead with 18% momentum. Democrats have 41% momentum, but they're significantly behind. Republicans have minus 40% momentum. They're way at the bottom. Campaign financing. Parties, particularly the Democratic Party, are struggling to raise enough funds for all their campaigning needs this election. The CU men are charging, yes. Fees, that's to be expected. What's this lodging charge, though? That fancy hotel room could house half a village. Jesus, there's enough wine built here to drown a fish. What's the outcome, chief, sir? You do want to win, right? You do want to win, right? So money can be spared for them. Costs us a pile of money. Adds momentum. Every party can be provided with basic funding this election cycle. Adds a huge amount of government expenses, but increases opposition interest group approval. Or if they can't afford a campaign, should they be campaigning? Reduces their momentum. I'm going to pick the second one. That's going to reduce Democratic momentum significantly. Now, I could go up to Midland taxes, but I can hold here for 5 years without causing a problem. So let's try and do that. Wars and rumors of wars all over the world, but none of them involving me, happily. So I'm feeling pretty good about the situation. Now, the rural folk have made it into the Socialist Party, the yeoman farmers, and that's actually made us significantly, made the Socialist Party significantly stronger. Karelian National Awakening, very cool. So we have multiple naval invasions going here, so this force comparison looks pretty weak, but we have more armies coming in. I'm actually going to grab the Oceanic Fleet and assign them an interception in this region to make sure things are covered. False democracy. Dieter Arntz, a nihilist aligned with the reactionary movement, has issued a condemnation of the American electoral system, endorsing abstention from voting in what he calls a sham put on to placate the people. In the dictatorship of the reactionary, of the rich and powerful, obscured from the view of the people by the facade of democracy, the best thing one may do is demonstrate the futility of such a guise so that the people may be spurred into action regardless of concession. The government must know we see through their system. Extra momentum for the socialists, reduced momentum for the Democrats. Minus 10 legitimacy, 20% reduced electoral confidence by 3%, 2% of petit bourgeois pops become more radical. Discrediting the system is the next step towards revolution. Extra momentum for the Republicans, reduced momentum for the Democrats. 10% of petit bourgeois pops become more radical. 6% reduction in electoral confidence. Minus 5 political strength per vote and minus 5 legitimacy. Or their supporters aren't voting, ours certainly are. Reduce momentum for the Democrats, increase momentum for the Republicans. I'm actually going to pick this third one. The increase for the Republicans is not going to be that much of a factor here. All right, so we've got multiple invasions rolling. The enemy's forces are split up, but we're bringing in another army of 105 battalions. So that's leaving the socialists very well ahead, which is good, because I want to keep them in the government. And it looks like we are narrowly winning an offensive battle here, despite this force comparison not looking great. So we should be even better once we've got another army rolling. All right, we got this. Germany, I hope you're ready to be humiliated. Plot twist, they always are. Have you seen what the German internet is like? Here I go, speaking on subjects I know nothing about again. Anyway, so let's not get too much into such things. So election cycle is going pretty okay. Russia's improving relations. That's delightful. So the intelligentsia bailed out to the Republicans, but then the industrialists moved from the Republicans to the Democrats. And the socialists got the yeoman farmers, and that's why we've got our current election cycle going the way it's going. This is curious. So this is actually an offensive victory here as well, for us. This is not. A lot of these other armies are not as strong as my regular army, but that is what it is. I haven't done a full revamp of my armed forces to take full advantage of the fact that I've got tanks now. Speaking of which, tanks are very affordable. Alright, perfect. Just making sure things are going well. Looks like I have more capacity for producing fine art. So let's increase the size of the art industry, shall we? I put a lot more arts academies in Arkansas, and those continue to be profitable. So let's increase them. Archywood, here we come. We'll do another 40% increase. The popularity contest. The eyes of the electorate have turned to the candidates that seek to acquire a position at the head of the government. As the election approaches, voters debate who would provide the best leadership for the United States of America. I quite like Woodward, mused one of the men at the bar. I couldn't say what it is I agree with him on, but I think he has a good head on his shoulders. His neighbor spoke up. Enough to look past the company he keeps? Well, why not? God knows you could say the same of any of us. Nobody's better to handle a fool than his friend. Elijah Woodward is the man of the hour. He becomes more popular and 30% momentum for the Republicans. Joachim Suchet has what the country needs. 30% momentum for the Democrats, and he becomes more popular. Or Hannibal Marsh has the character for the job. 30% momentum for the Socialists, and he becomes more popular. I'm gonna pick that third one. It is what it is. I've never seen the whatever the name of the elections are a sham event pop off for a non-leftist character before, because it's reactionary. It's a little bit curious. Are they? They're in a controlled retreat. Huh? Troop transfer fleet's just kind of sitting here. Curious. Let's. Oh, no, they're not sitting there. They're supporting a naval invasion. Alright. That's fine. Wow, this battle is going slow. I guess the battles are generally going slow because we're late in the game and it's late in the game. Alright, force comparison's looking a little better. How much occupation are we at here in Hanover? 62%, so if we can win one more battle, we should be good. Force comparison's good here. And we got a new battle popping off. 201 versus 201. Our offense is higher than their defense, so this could be a landing. And if it is, then these fleets can move off their naval invasions and simply roll into Germany. Yeah, look at that loyalist proportion. That's very good. I'm feeling very pleased about that. Election results projecting 73% of the votes for the Socialist Party. Very nice. No complaints here. Interestingly, the Germans have kind of, in my humble opinion, kind of misallocated their forces here, because they're more focused on these other fronts than they are on the one that's coming in with all my tanks and stuff. But that's a them problem. I don't need to worry about that whatsoever. Venezuela is still very high in liberty desire. Santo Domingo's liberty desire is going up, but that's to be expected. Their liberty desire from Cuba, from the Antillean Confederation. And the Antillean Confederation is very loyal at present, so things should be good from there. Oh wow! Huge Ottoman radical revolt. Dang, sure would be a shame if someone started breaking off pieces of the country. Harvest conditions started. Let's see if Amazonas is doing any better now that we've provided some trade capacity. Doesn't seem like it. Subsidize those buildings. See if we can't get the situation going a little better over there. All right, and there is the election. And what kind of results have we got? Socialists winning, as expected. We're not going to change up because I don't need to. If I wanted, I could pull the Republicans in. The Owen farmers are going to leave the socialists next election cycle. They love doing that. I don't know why, but they do. Alright, so once this battle finishes, we should be landed. And then things might be a lot easier. Beautiful. Alright, so now let's go ahead and snag these other naval invasions. We can just cancel these. And then these armies we should be able to just deploy to the front here. Not this one, unfortunately. Opium addiction. Great. And then we can deploy this army to this front. So, now that we're here, though, let's put these armies over to defense. And we'll see if we can, we'll see how long we can hold the Germans as we build up our forces. So, South German people are experiencing severe effects of opium addiction. The use and abuse of the substance is spread throughout Nebraska. Oh no! I have been hoisted by my own petard. The opium eater lies under the weight of incubus and nightmare. He lies in sight of all he would fain perform, just as a man forcibly confined to his bed by the mortal languor of a relaxing disease, who is compelled to witness injury or outrage offered to some object of his tenderest love. He curses the spells which chain him down from motion. He would but lay down his life, if he might but get up and walk. But he is as powerless as an infant, and cannot even attempt to rise. Perhaps we can treat this as a medical matter. -1 standard of living for South German people in Nebraska. That being said, I've got a little bit more authority to play with, so let's go ahead and throw a consumption tax in there. I can make a lot on porcelain, so let's do it. Now, let's get some coastal defense for... No, let's get the Army of East Africa in here. So we'll bring them in using the Atlantic Fleet. Middle Eastern Army is fine. And then we'll bring in the Marine Corps. I think I'll hold on that for a minute. We'll bring in the Eastern Coastal Defense Force using the Troop Transfer Fleet. And then we'll bring in the Northeastern Coastal Defense Force using the Trade Interdiction Fleet. And that'll give us a significantly larger amount of force here. And we'll see how the battles look with more units on here. Now, I do have to be conscientious of supply, but it's looking pretty okay at present. The enemy is pushing forward and starting battles here. Ooh, oil in Mississippi. Very nice. Alright, now I've got multiple fleets here, so that should be fine. I'm actually going to move the Pacific Fleet from port bombardment to protected supply lanes, because I think that's more important here. Blockade mission. That's the not the Oceanic Fleet. Who's on blockade? The Home Defense Fleet. And they've got 100% blockade capacity, so that's going fine. You know what? I'm going to bring in the Middle Eastern Army using the Indian Ocean Fleet. let's do it. You've earned it. You've earned a chance to participate at the front. And then we'll use the trade interdiction fleet to go back onto full blockading. Maybe we'll use the Atlantic fleet to do it. Who knows? To go blockade maxing. Alright, let's see what a battle looks like once this kicks off, because this should be any second now. Assuming our enemies continue to do this. Our defense is significantly higher than their offense at this stage, but we are stuck in mud, although they have a broken supply line. So we are losing a battle here, but force comparison is improving here. In anticipation of stuff getting silly, I'm going to turn 13th Army into a real army. We'll put Louis Granville in here. We'll call this the Reinforcement Army. And we'll just throw in a whole mess of mech infantry. That's 100. And then conscript heavy tanks we'll put in that'll get us to 80. Then conscript light tanks will do 10. Let's add another 10 mechanized infantry. Alright, and then we'll simply let that army grow for a little bit. And then we'll bring them in, and that'll allow us to see what's going on. We do have more armies here. Okay, so we are losing this defensive battle. But I believe... Alright, Germany no longer has war support protection. So assuming we can continue to hold, we should be fine. We've got an offensive battle going here. Alright, that's interesting. I think that... yes, because I brought in a bunch more armies that are on offense. You know what? I feel confident. Heavy advance. Using heavy tanks to crush all that stands in their way. Interesting. So slower, but a significant increase in offense. Reduced occupation, extra morale damage, and reduced morale loss. That's curious. I've never seen that before. Delightful. Alright, let's do it. We do have a naval battle happening here, but we're winning it. Alright, Indian Ocean Fleet. You can port bombard down there, and then Atlantic Fleet. You can blockade the southern Baltic. Okay, so we are winning an offensive battle here. And force comparison is improving. We are doing damage to them. Disease among the wounded. I've made a mistake. Who do I have not using proper sanitation methods? The Middle Eastern Army. I'm so dumb. I goobered it. I always do this. I always start a new army and then go... and then forget that I set up the methods. Colombian Army... leave them be for now. Disease among the wounded. The deaths from the disease among the wounded soldiers is skyrocketed. Imagine a quart. You know how much a quart is, right? No? Well, picture 2 cups of tea. Now imagine instead of tea, they're full of maggots. That's how much we pulled out of this one, poor fellow, after he was left to fester. This is troubling. Reduced recovery rate for the rest of the war. I definitely don't want that. Or offload some of the strain to the civilian medical sector. Half as much reduced recovery rate and extra mortality. So unfortunately, even though it was only one tiny army, and they are at the front, this affects our whole army, which sucks. I wish it only affected the one army, but it is what it is. I'm going to pick the second one. I'm going to offload it to the civilian medical sector. Hopefully this won't damage the war effort too badly. I wish that didn't happen. I'm sure mechanically what the best way to do it. Okay, so we're winning an offensive battle here. So that's very good. Force comparison here is rock solid. Well, force comparison here actually doesn't look that good, but I think it looks not as good as it. I think it doesn't look as. I think it's actually better than this. Plus, it's improving. It's improving day by day because we're whittling away a lot of enemy strength down here by winning this battle. If another battle pops off, we'll see how things go. We've got the Devil's Railroad event in Tanganyika this time. I'm going to say full steam ahead. Sorry, I'm getting quite impatient here with this war, I must tell you. Alright, we've got an offensive battle here that we're getting absolutely crushed on because of the force comparison. The enemy has far more units in that battle than we do. We actually got a hold of Braunschweig, which is delightful. How much devastation have we inflicted in Hanover? Almost 50%, which is pretty good. Basque mass immigration, cool. And we've got another battle popping off, but where? Over here. We are on defense, and we are winning handily in this battle. Oil and Houseland. So, now that we've got the enemy down to negatives, let's see how much they're willing to tolerate. So they would accept the humiliate war goal right here and right now. So the question is, they've lost far more dead and wounded than we have. We've spent a lot more than they have, but my cash flow is a lot better than them. My GDP is almost 2 billion. Their GDP is 325 million. We're doing a lot more damage to them than they're doing to us. So I'm going to fight it out to the end. And if that seems cruel and also unusual to you, welcome to the age of imperialism. These battles are taking their sweet time getting finished, I will say. But our force comparison is a lot better than it was before. We're also now inflicting devastation on Braunschweig, which is improving our overall comparison. Expeditionary force is low on organization. Why? Too many special units. I don't know how to tell you this, expeditionary force, but sounds like a you problem. Let me, let's put some of these Lancers in the Eastern Coastal Defense Force, shall we? That should solve that. And how well is our blockade going over here? 100%. Alright. So, just to review what blockading does. Yeah, minus 50% migration attraction, minus 75% efficiency for shipping lanes, and minus 75% throughput for naval buildings. So that's fishing wharves, ports, and shipyards. Let me see, we are winning on offense in Hesse. In Elba, we are losing on offense. Oh, nope, looks like we're winning. Excellent. And they've surrendered. We were unable to liberate Rome because that fell out of the war goals. So, Our armies are gonna... Ooh, Turkey. Hello, a democratic republic. Well, how delightful. Let's be friends, Turkey, eh? Let's draft a treaty. Let's see. Can I get investment rights? I can't. What about... Need better relations. Let's do guarantee independence in exchange for a power block embassy. Oh, you don't like that, huh? Perhaps a little pile of cash will suffice? I'm a sucker for a small democracy. What can I say? 57, that should get us there. Excellent. So our units should be making their way... Okay, so they're on their way to the Middle East, so I'm going to need to transport them all back to the United States. Relations are good. They'll be improving rapidly. A trade states option, which is interesting. With that having been said, let me think about where we are. Some of our armies have still... Let's actually put a pin in it. Wait, we're at 2 hours 45. That's fine. That's fine. That'll give us a nice, substantial block of the rest of 1929, and then 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. So that's another 6.5 years. So I'll get probably a 2-hour episode next time. So yeah, so we made very good progress in northern South America. We've taken some subject states. We've done an annexation. We're well on our way to forming, again, I believe it's Gran Colombia. Yeah, we're making good progress on that. All right, my nerds, that's all we got for tonight. I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.